If you're not familiar with Barstool Sports, they have become synonymous with the cultural zeitgeist of the internet. Everything from pizza reviews from Dave Portnoy to 40-hour live streams to giant media properties like Call Her Daddy have all come out of the Barstool media empire. But we're not here to talk about their content generation. What you may not know is that it's also a secretly huge e-commerce business. When you're constantly selling different product to different customer bases very quickly, it makes it challenging to leverage paid media effectively. But it is a foundation for healthy ad account development that businesses like Barstool depend on to produce massive, predictable, profitable scale. Welcome back to another episode of Outliers, where we explore the all-time greatest ads from your all-time favorite brands. And today, we're diving into a media company turned e-commerce solution, Barstool Sports. That's right, one of the biggest media properties on earth. And we're going to dissect how they run their ads and what the best performing ads they've ever made are to produce massive e-commerce success. And of course, as always, Outliers is brought to you by Motion App. It is the creative reporting software we use at Common Thread Collective to help us find those outliers and to produce more predictable, profitable growth on behalf of our customers. So let's dive in. If you're not familiar with Barstool Sports, they have become synonymous with the cultural zeitgeist of the internet. Everything from pizza reviews from Dave Portnoy to 40-hour live streams of Jersey Jerry playing a sim, engaged and responded to by some of the biggest athletes in the world, to, of course, giant media properties like Call Her Daddy have all come out of the Barstool media empire. But we're not here to talk about their content generation. We're here to talk about their Facebook ads. Because what you may not know about this business is that it's also a secretly huge e-commerce business. They sell tons of merch. And this runs the gamut. They have merch across every one of their brand properties, from Barstool specific stuff to brands for every one of their podcasts or media properties like Plan Brie Uncut or Pink Whitney or Spitting Chiclets, or even Big Cat's coffee brand, Stella Blue Coffee. They have tons and tons of different ideas. And the reality is, anything that happens on the internet that taps into culture could instantly become a piece of merchandise for Barstool Sports. They are very much masters of the moment. They understand how to tap into the present conversation, insert themselves into it, and sell product into the moment. Whether that's Scotty Scheffler being arrested or something going on in the Olympics, they know how to find a moment and capitalize against it. So let's dive in to their ad performance. Because what has historically been true is that this is not a business that has driven most of their success off of paid media. They generate a lot of organic awareness as a business and really only been running Facebook ads for a shorter window because it's a challenging mechanism. Facebook is a machine learning algorithm that fuels itself off of being able to consistently optimize off of a consistent set of inputs. Well, when you're constantly selling different product to slightly different customer bases that are in stock and out of stock very quickly, it makes it challenging to actually leverage paid media effectively. Okay, quick interruption to talk to you about Motion. One of my favorite things about using Motion is how quickly it gives me information to the kinds of questions I wonder about all the time when it comes to creative. So in this case, I'm looking at my Skull Candy instance inside of Motion. I can very quickly and easily see my performance across different asset types. This is the thing that brands are incessantly curious about, is how are my static images doing versus my videos versus my DPA or DABA in any given period of time. So in this case, I can quickly pull up, create a comparison type report. I can look at how much spend on images versus videos versus DPA and DABA. I can see the ROAS, the AOV across all these spectrums and begin to provide those answers back to my customer right away. This is just one of many different reports that exist instantaneously inside of Motion App that our team uses to help bring creative insights to our customers to help produce more outliers. The other thing is the margin of merch when you're dealing with royalties and licenses and short prints and long runs is challenging to get right. So the expectations of efficiency in this category are very high. But here we have the scatter plot for Barstool Sports. You can see that the mean spend is about $2,600, low on the lower end. And again, some of that has to do with the limited run nature of a lot of the products. The median spend about $300 per ad, modal $1,567. The max, the highest dot we have, $250,000. The high performing threshold is $16,586. That's one standard deviation above the mean. That's what we assign as a high performing ad. They have 93 high performers out of 1,855 total ads launched for a hit rate of 3.56%. Now, you may remember back in the previous episode with GoRuck, we had the highest hit rate we'd seen at almost 6%. So 3.5% is fairly standard. Now, if we were to look at every one of these dots from 100,000 above, we would see the exact same ad format. If you've been following the series, I bet you can guess what it is. And if you're starting to think about how Barstool might function, it might be intuitive to you. Can you guess what it is? If you guessed the product feed, you were right. This is by far and away, literally, of the top 10 performing ads in the history of Barstool Sports. All 10 of them are product feeds. Well, why is this? And how is this a useful piece of information for us to understand? Well, Barstool deals, like many brands, in the hits business, in short-term, high-intensity culture capture. And so the ability to build a creative system that doesn't depend on producing net new creative, but leveraging a very powerful system of allowing the product upload to fuel net new creative presence such that we don't have to go and adjust the campaigns every time a new product launches, but we can build structure around the categories that they develop inside of their system and allow the updates to the product feed to provide access to the best available information is a very powerful system of creative development. So I want to talk about how I see catalog ads in particular being massively underdeveloped for businesses. Remember I mentioned the amount of brands that exist for Barstool Sports. Well, the other challenge is that they have talent that isn't directly responsible for making Facebook ads. They're responsible for writing organic content for the business. So you also have this ongoing tension between the creative talent to produce content and the ability to make Facebook-specific ad creative that exists inside of an organization like this. And so leveraging the design around the merch itself allows for there to be a connection between people tapped into the zeitgeist, the production of the ideation of the product, and the design of the shirt to actually serve as a functional ad itself. And you can imagine with this many different lines of products and merchandise and accessories and games and tees and hats and sweatshirts constantly being updated. They may be live for a day and then gone. It's a very complex system of creative development. And while most brands don't face that short time horizon of success, the opportunity still remains to better utilize catalogs as a mechanism for expanding your ad account and producing profitable volume. So as a standard procedure, most brands, and when we started with Barstool, the normal procedure was to just create a product feed. And while that certainly is a useful exercise, is the standard process we see a lot in ad accounts is remarketing DPA. And it's just sort of show people back the products that they were looking at on the website. And sure, that is a powerful thing. And it's not to say that we should exclude that opportunity, but there's also a massive opportunity to use DABA, dynamic ads broad audiences, and to build them into specific delivery systems where you take and you use the hierarchy of your navigation as a mechanism for thinking about all the different ways that you could possibly merchandise the ad account with catalog feeds. So all we initially did with Barstool was to help them expand their catalog system to not just include a single feed, but to set up every one of the brands, as well as a new section, all these different interest premises, all the different gift price models, all the ways that you would merchandise your website in the main nav into variable catalogs with a minimum ROAS expectation based on the marginal outcome of that individual product line. And because the t-shirts, the collections often vary in price, you can see you can run a sweatshirt from $80 to $32 using min ROAS to set up with the efficiency expectation and broaden the account across all of those. Go with inflated budgets against the cost controls so that you can take advantage of. You don't need a person to go into the ad account to adjust the budget up anytime a moment a new shirt hits. The team can simply upload their product into the feed and allow Facebook to automatically deliver it into the increased opportunity. And so this system is the foundation for the ad account. Now, that's not to say that we don't build on top of it with individual ad examples and coming up with different ways to do flat lays of product, or even to incorporate the talent like Dave and Bree and the others when possible. But for a business like this that wants to move this fast around capitalizing on opportunity, there's not time to build a creative production system around every unique opportunity. So expanding that feed breadth as an organization can often solve a massive foundation for profitable spend, especially in apparel. I'll give you another example of a business where I think this applies. Let's imagine you were running Facebook ads for an apparel brand like Cuts Clothing. You can see in a similar way, there's a whole hierarchy of collections that are set up. These are sometimes organized by men and women at the highest parent level, sometimes by categories, tops, bottoms, etc. Other times you see things like bestsellers, new releases, kit bundles, 60% off styles, anniversary collection, specific product types like the Enduratech series. Well, every one of these is a different catalog with a different narrative that likely has a different margin profile, different inventory that allows you to just go in and build an immediate foundation of the ad account where you have data catalogs for every one of these opportunities, all built on, around minimum ROAS as a beginning point for volume with high inflated budgets and cost controls. And again, this isn't to say that by any means that this is the entirety of the creative diversity in your ad account. Of course not. But it is a beginning foundation that for some brands, if you are trying to captivate or capture fluctuating demand relative to cultural zeitgeist, then it can become a massive critical up to 70 or 80% of your ad spend. Or if you're an apparel foundation, maybe it's a consistent 20 to 30% that gives you a baseline that continues to update as your business adds new product and grows. So I understand that this may not be the biggest, most insightful creative styling example, but it is a foundation for healthy ad account development that businesses like Barstool depend on to produce massive, predictable, profitable scale.